a lot of things did not exist in the previous years that exist now.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time until we reach up there,
Mm.
which is very
One,
exciting times, especially now that we're hosting the World of Coffee.
welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 4 of a 5-part series with Zainab Al Mousawi from To the Moon and Back, or TTMB. I really do like TTMB rather than, I mean, it's not that I don't like To the Moon and Back. It's just that TTMB really sticks, and it doesn't do that with most businesses, doing the shorter version. So TTMB, now, we in this episode, as we talk about what it is like to open a cafe, in this episode, Zainab, we are going to talk about the comparison between cafes in Australia and cafes here in the Emirates. There is a stark difference, but there is some overlap. So why don't we talk about the overlap first? What are some of the similarities between them?
I think the amount of cafes that are opening, definitely. Like if you go to a place like Melbourne, for example, there are multiple cafes right next to each other, and they're all doing well. They all have their customer base, and they're all full, and people are lining up, which is amazing, which is something that I aspire for here to see soon in the UAE.
Inshallah.
And the fact that when first coffee business started in the UAE, people were refraining from serving food alongside coffee.
Oh, really?
I remember I had this discussion. Yeah, I remember I had this discussion with friends of mine in the coffee business, and they were all like, how can you serve coffee? How can you serve? This is specialty coffee. You can't just take the light and the spotlight from coffee. Like, I can't imagine someone eating eggs right in front of a table who is just ordering coffee. I still remember that. And I was like, no, I'm going to have my kitchen because I'm interested in coffee and I'm interested in food as well. And it was a frowned upon. It was like, you're not a true specialty coffee. You need to serve only coffee, and if anything, just have like bites like cookies and stuff like that don't smell. And I was like, no, I think it's fine. I came from Melbourne, and everybody's doing that, and people want a bite. How much coffee can you drink? It's like people would like to enjoy, and people would, because for me, it's not just a space where you sip your coffee. It's not like the Italian concept, and like on a bar, you have an espresso and then you just go. That's a whole different culture. But for me, like comparing it to the Australian culture that I brought with me, again, it's all about that social space where community exists. People sit and socialize and eat, chill, have multiple cups of coffee, and then have, food in between, and can come for breakfast, for brunch, for all day breakfast kind of thing. That's the culture that I brought with me. And it wasn't welcomed. And people told me that I was going to fail. Multiple business owners told me that I was going to fail. Yes.
Wow.
And that was not far from today. It was only like 6 years ago. And now look at everybody. Like, it's become a thing. Everybody's serving food alongside, like everybody's serving specialty coffee alongside breakfast, alongside brunch. It's become a norm. But it's all about not letting people shut you down. But again, comparing like business, Australian cafes to UAE cafes.
That overlaps though, right?
From the point.
That's an overlap. The food and the coffee thing, like people say, but that's a restaurant. It's not a restaurant. In Australia, there's a very distinct difference between a cafe and a restaurant. Both of them serve food, but one of them serves wine and alcohol with food, and the other serves coffee with food. And it's very clear in Australian culture what the difference is between the two things.
Yeah. So it took a while for people to accept it. And like, because, it's like the specialty coffee was new. People were very precious about it. It's like, this is a specialty coffee. Nothing should take the spotlight from the amazing cup of coffee. But this is a similar thing.
So what are some of the differences between the cafes, let's say in Dubai, and the cafes in Melbourne?
The community aspect. You won't be able to find that in as much as you can find it in Australia.
Yeah.
Again, regardless of what's happening, people find cafes here, and this differs from one emirate to the other as well, and from one cafe to the other. But you don't really find that community aspect, that socializing aspect, that it's okay for someone on this table to chat with someone on that table just because they thought the book cover that they're reading is actually interesting. And it's completely normal to approach that person because you're in a social space. And
Yep.
it's okay. There's, of course there are boundaries, but for such a thing, like, it's fun. You would expect someone. I had a lot of people, like a lot of interactions. I made a lot of friends in Melbourne, and I'm so thrilled to see that happening in TTMB. But that is missing in a lot of cafes here around the UAE. People are still viewing a cafe space as just cafe space. I'm just gonna come with my group of friends, or like with the one person that I came with. I'm gonna do my social interaction just with them, have my coffee, have my food, and just leave at the end of the day. But no interaction whatsoever with the surrounding areas, or like, I'm not gonna come and bring my book and be open to interacting with strangers. And I don't know if you've noticed, like, I have the communal table for a reason, and that's one thing that I brought with me from Melbourne as well, forcing people to socialize. Being okay with having someone in your space. Funny coming from an introvert, but that's a nice thing to have in a cafe that we also lack, because also I understand, like, because of cultural reasons, maybe it's not acceptable for a lot of people to kind of have that close proximity right next to each other, like strangers, especially like different genders. But it's like there is an understanding with certain people. Like, I know a lot of girls who got to have friendships with other girls, just like sharing a communal table. Someone who ran out of charge. I see those things because I'm at TTMB all the time. So someone running out of charge and they forgot their charger at home, or like their charger suddenly broke, and they don't mind asking the other person, or sometimes even the other person notices and then offers help and go like, there you go, use my charger. It's a compatible one. And then, it's such a sweet thing to observe these things. So I think that is lacking yet in our coffee scene here in the UAE.
And I think there was a time when that was lacking in Australian culture. Like, I know as an Australian, we're a very open culture. We're very we're all over each other anyway. We don't really know boundaries that very well when it comes to socializing. We talk to each other all the time on the street and in cafes. But what I'm excited about here is you're doing the work to shift the culture here. And over time, I see that that's going to happen. It's going to have to happen in cafes all over the Emirates, because it's a part of the secret sauce of success here is when you encourage that kind of community. It's the thing that keeps people coming back to the same cafe, rather than once the 6-month fad period is over, then they go look for the next trendy cafe. If you do put the effort into creating a culture within the cafe, people keep coming back. They want that to be their place. And I think over time, that's definitely going to be something that evolves across the Emirates. It's just that, as you were saying in a previous episode, we're at the beginning. Even though there's a lot of cafes, we really are at the beginning of establishing the coffee drinking culture here in the Emirates.
100%, I agree. It's surely going to happen. But again, it's a steady growth. A lot of things did not exist in the previous years that exist now.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time until we reach up there, which is very exciting times, especially now that we're hosting the World of Coffee.
Friends, World of Coffee Dubai is back in 2024, and I am proud to announce that the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward will be the official podcast partner for World of Coffee Dubai for the second year in a row. The Roasters Village will be a one-of-a-kind destination for all things coffee. As an exhibitor, introduce your artisanal roasts to an international audience and gain valuable insights from their perspective. Visitors, immerse yourself in the celebratory coffee culture experience by sampling exclusive cups poured with passion from cafes worldwide, and absorb insights that will elevate your own appreciation of all things coffee. Whether you brew coffee or just love savoring a fine cup, this event gathers the global coffee community under one roof in an amazing city. Join us at World of Coffee Dubai in 2024 at Dubai World Trade Center from the 21st until the 23rd of January. Tickets are available at Dubai dubai.worldofcoffee.org, or you can contact us on social media for any questions that you might have at mapforward.coffee. Get your tickets now, folks. Come see the podcast being recorded live, and we hope to see you in January in Dubai for World of Coffee.
But I encourage everybody to go there, whether you're thinking about owning a business or whether you have a business already and you've been in the industry. It's always thrilling to go and attend such events, especially happening here in the UAE, to help you understand from the perspective of other business owners from across the world.
So there is one thing that is different here that the Emirates has over every other cafe in Australia, and that is Arabic coffee. Which is delicious. So can you help people understand the Arabic coffee side of things?
So the Arabic coffee, it differs from, let's say, if I would compare the UAE to Saudi Arabia. The roasting process is different, and so the UAE coffee is more medium roast compared to the Saudi one, which they call it the blonde, because it's a very light roast and it's higher in caffeine. And for them, because the Saudi is huge, so each state in Saudi adds different spice into their coffee. And then for us, it's just like simple. In the UAE, we only add cardamom and saffron. And some people add cloves here in the UAE, but it's not very common compared to, for example, Saudi. They add rose water, they add ginger, they add all different kind of spices. So the main difference and the main similarity, in Arabic coffee is that we add spices to our coffee. And one of my friends told me an interesting story that I didn't know. Apparently, like back in the days, the Arabs, I assume everybody knows that Muslims fast during Ramadan. So during the fasting, because Arabs are really addicted to coffee, because back in the days, to the degree that when the nomads would run out of coffee beans, they would roast the pit of the dates, and then they would crush it, and then they would drink it. That's how addicted they are. But anyway, so even during the fasting months, because to avoid dehydration and lack of energy, they would still drink coffee at night, but they would add spices for it. And apparently that's where the idea came from. By adding spice, it cancels the caffeine.
Oh,
element.
Okay.
Yeah, so it makes it easier for you to fall asleep so that you would be energized the next day while still enjoying your cup of coffee.
Wow.
And then during normal days, they might drink it without spice, which can give you that energy and caffeine boost that you need during the day.
It's such a beautiful part of the coffee drinking culture over here, guys. If you are coming to World of Coffee, it's definitely something that you have to try at as many cafes as you can, because it's a delicious beverage, and it's a different experience, a cultural experience that you can't really get, and it's done fabulously here. So we have one episode left of the series. We're just going to wrap up the whole year with this final episode. So this will be the next episode will be the last episode of the year. So join us for that, folks. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day.
Thanks, friends. If you enjoyed this video, here's what you should check out next. Consider supporting Map It Forward on Patreon, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave.